This is the Wandering Mike.
Welcome everyone to the Wandering Mike. Today I'm here with Fabiola. Hey Fabiola, how's it going?
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm looking forward to this conversation. It's going to be a super interesting one. Um, yeah, if you just want to get us started with introducing yourself quickly, tell us a little bit about your life, your journey, anything you want to share.
Well, Fabiola Baughman, I am a shamanic practitioner. I practice a shamanism from the Andes. And basically, what I do is I help you or the client to heal from the wounds of the past through energetic work and allow you to reclaim your path or purpose in life. I see a lot of people that are unable to heal their wounds through psychotherapy or regular traditional medicine. For whatever reason, they haven't been able to heal, and they come to me because they feel stuck. And I allow them to. I listen to them first, and I find what is the energetic blockage that might be stopping them from fulfilling their true potential.
Right. So I'm very curious to get into practice of that and the things you learned while you were doing these things. Um, but maybe to start it off chronologically, how did you end up doing what it is you're doing now? How was your journey to becoming a shamanic practitioner? If you just want to take us through that.
Yes. If you would have asked me 25 years ago that I would have been a shaman, there was going to be a shaman, I would have been you. I would have said, you're crazy, right?
Right.
Because amongst the biologists, I was just getting my master's degree and I was looking forward to doing some research and teaching at the university, which I did for a little while at community college. But I started feeling that I, I wasn't quite feeling in the right place. And at the same time, I was raising my kids. My husband is a geologist and he was traveling quite a bit. So I decided to stay home and raise my children. But that took me into a different direction because, raising children is pretty stressful. So
Yeah,
so
I
I
can imagine.
started, I started learning about meditation, clairvoyance, and it was very interesting because one day I realized that my perspective of life was very limited because I was only looking through the lens of science, and I started looking through the lens of spirit, and that was the first step that took me into the direction of energy work. Once I I became able to see beyond the unseen, to see energy, somebody invited me on a journey to Peru, back to my land where I am from. And I went there, and because I was a clairvoyant and I was able to communicate with the spirits of the mountains, the spirits of the land. And one of the first messages that I received was from Inca Pachacutec, who lives, the spirit of Inca Pachacutec lives in that land, especially in the ruins of Sacsayhuaman outside the city of Cusco. And one of the first things that I saw was that visit from Inca Pachacutec. He came to me and I was very surprised. I didn't expect that to happen at all. He came forward and I asked my guide, I'm seeing this Inca that's coming forward. And do people see this? And he says, yeah, sometimes they do. Who is this guy? And he said, it's Inca Pachacutec. And I realized that that was true because this man that was coming forward was very, very powerful. Inca Pachacutec was
Mm.
probably the most successful Inca in the Inca Empire. And he came forward to give me a message. He was sharing with me the condition of the land, how disappointed he was about how we were treating Pachamama, Mother Earth. He was really complaining about the condition of the rivers in the city of Cusco in general in Peru, and he wanted us to change our ways. And he also complained about the corruption of the politicians. He was very disgusted by that. And I was just very surprised because he was complaining as if I could do something about it. And I said,
Right.
I don't know why you're sharing this with me. I'm nobody. I'm just I haven't been back for 20 years and now you're complaining about these things. And he said something very powerful. He said, be a catalyst for change. And because I was a scientist, I had taken many chemistry classes and I had taught chemistry while I was in college to school age children. I realized that that was the perfect word, to describe someone that can make a big change, but wasn't very big or very important. And I realized that we all can be catalysts for change. And that really stuck with me. That was back in 2018. And then I started receiving the rites, the initiation rites from the aunties one by one. And when I started receiving that, the mountains, the lineages from Peru started connecting with me. And they were calling me in my dreams. And they said, well, now you have the theory, you have the initiation. Now you have to come and really experience what it's like to be in tune with us, to learn from us, to be a true shaman. And they call me. So I left my children. They were quite a bit older then. And I said, well, I'm going to go on this journey because I have to go. I don't know what I'm going to learn. And I just went on this journey and it was magical because I went to places that I would have never gone with my family, very remote areas, 15,000 feet. And I saw very unique things. And the amazing part of it was that everything was alive. The boulders, the mountains, the lakes, they were just like giving me so much information and I was learning so much from them. And it really shifted my energy. It really taught me about the deep things that we need to know as human beings. And so I returned home with this sacred initiation, and I really feeling this strong connection to the mountains. And I started learning more and more. I learned more about shamanism. I got my certification from the Four Winds Society. And not only that, the lineages and the mountains were teaching me and guiding me in my practice. And sometimes when I was healing someone, they would guide me and tell me, okay, let's do this, let's do that, let's ask him more questions. And this is how you have to heal this person. And so I don't work alone. I work with all these lineages and all these archetypes that I work with that are guiding me in my process. And so I continued developing my practice throughout the years. But there was something very phenomenal that happened in 2021, actually the end of 2020. I received a major download from the spirits of the mountains. They came to me one day and they hit me quite hard on the side of the head, on the top of my head and inside, and they almost like lightning. And I saw this flood of images and they were asking me, hey, what if you film a documentary here in the Andes? And I was very surprised because I'm not a filmmaker. I was not at the time. And what do you mean? This making a movie is a big deal. And they said, well, you've been filming anyway, so why not share the message? And so immediately I called my husband, right? And he was like on board right away, which is wow, unusual, and I was like, are you for real? Okay, we'll do this. And somehow we knew the people that could help us. We just didn't know. We start asking, and they were right in front of us. We just didn't know that this was even possible. And we just went. We went in May of 2021, and we filmed. The trips are coming together now. Remember, 2021, that was right after Peru opened up the borders during the pandemic, right? So we were like kind of scared because a lot of people were dying in Peru. A lot of people died in Peru during the pandemic. So we just went on this adventure and took a chance, and whatever happened, happened. But it was an incredible experience. And it was so amazing because every person that we interviewed, they had such deep wisdom. They were very humble people. And it's important to understand that this is a very typical characteristic of Indian men or women. They are very humble because they are really in touch with Hamus, with the dirt, with Pachamama. One of them is a potato grower, an agronomist, and he has this farm that is surrounded by the apus, and the apus, which are the spirits of the mountains, right, bless his crops. So they have this tradition that before they do anything on the land, they have to do a ceremony There's a lot of ceremony involved in the Andean cosmovision, in the Andean tradition. And they will make an offering to the mountain. So they're participants in taking care of these crops. Another person we interviewed was Pablo Seminario, who is a famous ceramist in the Urubamba town. And he talked to us about how he learned to make ceramics from the, getting the dirt from the mountains and just learning. Because he says back then there was no Google, there was no way to research how to make a pottery, right? And he really admired the the pottery from the pre-Columbian pottery that we have in Peru. He wanted to make something similar. And now his pottery is being sold all over the world. So he's incredible. Even some of his pottery is in the Smithsonian Museum and the Field Museum and in different places. Another person was a woman, a teacher who has an institution. But her main concern is to teach children to go back to the ways of Mother Earth, to learn to grow your crops, to learn to eat seasonally, and to have this deep respect for Pachamama. And one of the things that she says is that we will never learn to take care of our planet if we don't start by planting a plant and taking care of it. So basic, right? So she had so much wisdom, and it was magical. And as the amazing thing too was that during this journey, I was healing. The mountains were healing me and showing me things about myself that I hadn't been aware of. So yeah, it was definitely a healing journey. I came back, and then I had to have so many videos and so much footage that I had to go through. It took me about 3 years. Of course, I had a team that worked with me, an amazing team, an incredible team that really knew what they were doing. And we finished up and we put it on Film Freeway, which is a platform where you enter film festivals. And we received 6 different awards, which was
Nice.
very surprising. Yeah, very, very
That's cool.
surprising. So we're very happy. And now we put our documentary is called Journey to the Heart of the Andes, and it's available on kinema.com for rent. So we're hoping that, in the future we can, share that more of the documentary. But basically, what the message that I received was that the mountains, why are the mountains so important? The mountains think of the mountains as antennas. Okay. Antennas, they attract the universal love into the earth. So when that universal love comes to into the mountains, it goes into the snow, right? Into these high mountains. And this snow has that high frequency of love. So when the snow melts and it goes into those glacier lakes, those lakes are incredible. They vibrate at the highest frequencies there is. In fact, I jumped into one of these lakes during that documentary, and it really changed me. I realized that I was not gonna take anything less than respect and be honored for who I was. It really changed me. And I realized that all that water, the mountains shared this with me recently. Imagine that love coming into the earth and going through the rivers, through the whole planet and feeding the planet with love. So what happens when this water gets polluted? Then that love that we need to be fed from, it's polluted as well. And then we feel the way we feel. So that's important to me, to reconnect people with this vibration of undiluted love that comes from the universe that is found in the mountains.
So that's a very fascinating story, and it's so beautiful to see how you found your path through that journey. Um, a question I have is, do you believe, because obviously this journey started for you when you were in the Andes, when you were in the mountains, and that's when you basically received all this information. You think there is specific places on this earth, on this world, where these energies are very prominent? Or do you think, for example, you could have also received the same information in the United States somewhere? How do you think people can get these energies? Or
There are many ways. Like I told somebody yesterday, there are many paths to Rome. There are many ways, different ways of healing, right? So that is the path that it was just the path that I needed to walk on. That was just my luck. Um, but I definitely think that one of the things that we can do in order to attune ourselves with these special places, that really the special place that you're talking about, these unique places, these portal places, is nature. It's nature, it's
Right.
Mother Earth, it's being out there in nature. Because when we are indoors most of the day, when we are, I mean, and I have to be honest, I'm indoors quite a bit because I have to work on my practice, right? And I have to
Right.
put things online and so many things and prepare classes and whatnot. But if I don't make the time to go into nature and recharge myself, if I don't make the time to commune with myself through meditation and having a spiritual practice, I cannot be healthy. So to answer your question, there are very special places in the world, but I think the most important place that we need to connect with and to respect is within ourselves. And the power of nature allows us to do that. In Peru, I visited amazing places. One of them is Coyoriti. The Lord of Coyoriti is a huge boulder that is found at 15,000 feet. Way before the Spaniards, the indigenous people of Peru in that area, the Quero people, knew that that was a very special and sacred place. In fact, they will go and bring offerings to this waka. That's what it's called, a waka, sacred stone. And they will make special offerings because they knew in some way this was a portal for that universal love, for that high vibration, for that connection to the universe. And there are many places in the world like that, but I feel that the mountains in Peru are very, very special. So are the Himalayas as well. The mountains
Right.
everywhere are very special. But here's the interesting thing. The reason why the mountains are so alive in Peru is because the people of Peru interact with them. They have a relationship with them. They pray to them. They know that they're part of their lives. They're participant in creating the life that they're living. So they're very awake. So when you start talking to them, immediately they talk to you. They talk to you, they communicate with you. And that is the message that one of the messages, the many messages that I want to bring back from the mountains is that we need to start talking to nature. We need to start communicating with the trees, with the lakes, with the mountains, because they are there to help us and support us on this path. And I think that's very important. So I feel like I spend a lot of time in Lake Tahoe in the mountains here in the Nevada area, and I communicate as much as I can with the mountains, and they're starting to speak to me, and it's great. And I encourage people to do that because that's when you start feeling the truth within yourself. It's almost like the mountains are these spiritual guides that allow you to hear yourself even better. Imagine a loving uncle, a loving aunt, or loving mother that knows you well and allows you to go deeper and understand what's in your heart. So that's how I see nature participating in my life and in the life of many people.
Yeah. Um, so that's actually a question I wanted to ask as well. So you already said we should reconnect more with nature, which I definitely agree with. Um, but so after you initially got the message to do the documentary and you were called to film all this, then you said it took you about 3 years to actually edit everything, compile it. So yeah, the question I wanted to ask then, when you had all the material, what kind of were the main messages that you were trying to portray with the video material that you filmed? What are you trying to bring across?
There were several messages. So one of them is that we are all one. Okay. We all come from oneness and we all return to oneness. So let's get over this us versus them.
Mm.
This like we are right, they're wrong. Okay, because we are all one. And we need to respectfully agree to disagree in some ways, respect the other person's opinion because they have that opinion because they have a different point of perspective. Okay. Their reality is different. Their upbringing is different. Their priorities are different. Sure, a lot of them can be selfish and a lot of them can be evil, but we are all one. We come from oneness and we will return to oneness. That's one of the messages. The other message that I want to share with people is that the way we integrate with nature is by bringing into our luminous field, into our body, the elements: water, air, fire, earth, right? And ether. We integrate those into our body. When I'm in the Andes and the wind is blowing and I'm lighting a fire and I jump into the water and I become one with it, I return to balance. I return into a more balanced state. Okay. Because we're all made of those elements. When we are in balance, it's because we either have too much of one element in our body, too much fire, we get mad, too much water, we get our emotions get out of control and we don't let them go. We don't release them. We don't forgive. We hold the grudge. Um, with too much earth, we get too serious and too grounded. There's such a thing as too grounded, right? So we don't know how to have fun. So all of that is good, but in the right amounts, in the right balance. And of course, balance is not, it's like average, right? Comes and goes. You go one way and then you got the other. But it's a constant balance, a constant movement within ourselves. So yeah, and air too. Sometimes we just need to be allowed our communication, the way we communicate. That is the element of air, right? Indigenous people communicated through the airwaves. They just knew, there was going to be a gathering of the Native Americans and Mesoamerica, and we all gonna go meet there from different tribes. They just knew that, and they knew because they were in tune with that element of earth, the air. So, so that's how we become one with nature, by integrating those elements within ourselves. Um, Another message too is that, again, we're one, and there was something that came out that was very interesting. I was working with this very famous shaman, Vilma Pinedo. I call her shaman royalty because she comes from generations of shamans, healers. And she was reading with the coca leaves. So the coca leaf reading is basically the oracle Pachamama, the oracle through which Mother Earth communicates with us. And she was saying, as she was throwing the leaves, she was seeing, I was asking her, what do we have to get over? How can we become one? And the coca leaves were saying, as she was tossing them on the yipia, on the piece of cloth, that she was looking at 4 wars. She was looking at these wars that happened in the past, and that we're holding the grudge, and that we parents are teaching their children to hate other people because either they're different, they are blaming the previous generations of people of different race or different nationalities for whatever happened. And we need to get over that. We need to let go of the resentments of the past, because that hate needs to stop with us and not us be passed on to our children. So, and that, I thought that was a very important message. The Mother Earth says, you're all my children. I love you all. And none of you is better than the other. So for the earth to tell you that was just so powerful for me to hear. And nobody is better than other, that we're all the same. We're all just as valuable. And understanding that is so important, for the well-being of the planet. Another lesson that I learned too is that when we try to heal the planet, we need to get over ourselves and stop thinking that, oh my gosh, I gotta do all this. I cannot cut trees. I cannot do this. I cannot do that because I'm polluting the earth. Okay. First of all, Earth is your mother. Your mother will want you to feed yourself, to take care of yourself. But your mother will ask you to pick up after yourself, right? So if we're going to take anything from the earth, we need to do it in a clean way. We need to do it in a respectful way. If you went to the kitchen and baked a cake and you left the kitchen dirty, what will your mother tell you? She will get really upset with you, right?
That's clear.
It's like, clean up after yourself, right? So, or I won't let you bake again. So,
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. She's our mother. She wants to give us so much. Of course, I want you to learn to bake a cake, but you have to do it in a respectful way. You have to do it. I want you to extract my minerals. I want you to uh, use the plants and whatever resources I can provide to you, but in a respectful way, not in a greedy way, not in a I want to make money kind of way. I want to provide for my family. That's what you need to focus on. And that's we can learn that from the cosmovision of the Andes. Let's see what other messages. The highest frequency there is love. If we all return to love, then we vibrate that frequency. But what is love? That's a good question. You know,
Yeah.
it's a frequency of oneness where we all come from, where we all feel like we're complete, right? That we don't need anything. And also that frequency and that balance for us means balancing the male and the female energy within ourselves. Okay. So Pachamama teaches us very much about the female energy. Um, we have to understand and learn from nature that there are times in which we can push and there are times when we have to back off. Sometimes the river flows, sometimes the river doesn't flow, right? That's just the normal rhythm of life. But in the Western society, in the Western belief, is we're always going, going, going until we just. I don't know why I got sick. I don't know why I can keep up with these deadlines. I don't know why I can get this done. I'm supposed to, right? We have high expectations that are not humanly possible. So listening to the rhythm of nature, it helps us to return into balance and to listen what our body can handle and what it cannot. Um, and then another thing that I've learned from this documentary and also from other experiences with nature is that nature, it really is a mirror. It's a mirror for our own emotions. So if we suffer, can you hear that? So if you suffer, there's nature.
Yeah.
If you suffer, your emotions, that your suffering is gonna be reflected on the earth. It's gonna be reflected that these fires, these hurricanes, all of these natural disasters happen because we don't take care of our emotions properly. So yeah.
Um, I mean, I don't mean to get negative in any sort of way because I'm always a very positive person as well. I'm trying to see the positive in humanity in general. Um, and I also totally agree with all the messages you just said. So I'm just curiously asking, do you feel it realistic in the system we have going on all over the world in the moment that we can ever get back to all these insights and really live away in that way? Because I feel like we're very far gone already.
Uh, Well, one of the things that I've learned as a shaman is that happiness is a matter of perspective, depending on how you're looking at things, right? So we can have a perspective of, oh my gosh, everything is going to hell, and we're seeing the boat is sinking, or maybe we're just actually becoming afloat, or we can look at the glass half empty or the glass half full, right? And sure, things are not going so great right now. I will agree with you. I definitely would agree with you, but we can see that there's hope, that we can change our ways, that we can learn from Mother Earth. So how do we do this? Okay.
Mm.
So if we start tuning ourselves with nature, either by planting your food, planting a plant in a pot in your balcony, you don't have to live in a farm. Okay. By respecting your animals, communicating with them, feeling in your heart where your pet is trying to tell you, for instance, right? Then pretty soon you start tuning to the flow of nature, to the message of Pachamama. And soon you will start returning into that rhythm. Because if you start respecting one animal, you will respect another, and you will respect another and another. And you will respect the human beings too, as well. So if we start changing our ways a little bit at a time and not to think only of ourselves, because that's the thing. that when we hurt somebody else, we hurt ourselves, because that's dropping our vibration. We think when we hurt somebody or take advantage of somebody only hurts the other person. No, because your vibration goes down as well, right? So what happens what happens when you're hurting or taking advantage of that other person? You're not gonna do as well. There's another thing that you learn from the cosmovision of the Andes. It's called Aini. It's the law of reciprocity. Okay. The law of reciprocity says that basically, I give to you, someday you'll give back to me. That's the way people in the Andes work. They don't take all the time, because they know that when they do that, when they're only takers, they will be at this a lack of balance in the community. So they need to work together, giving and taking, giving and receiving for things to work out properly. So can you imagine if we taught our children that, okay, I'm gonna give you this, but what are you gonna do with it? How are you gonna respect this toy? How are you gonna respect this that it cost me so much to work and produce the money to play for this? How are you gonna respect the things that I'm giving you? And how can you contribute to the benefit of the whole family? Having that responsibility for the other human being. So and learning that everything is in balance. What affects the other person is gonna affect you. It's very important to know that.
Yeah. It's so, yeah, I feel like in general, it is just about people being able to really live well in, like you said, in balance, people living a life in a good way according to nature, humanity, all the oneness. And like you mentioned in the beginning, that's what you as a shaman, as a shamanic practitioner, try and help the people with. Um, so why do you think, or to ask in a different way, what makes the shamanic uh, practice different to things that you mentioned, like psychotherapy, in helping people deal with these wounds of the past and addressing these energetic blockages?
Right. Because if we talk about, let's see that you have a physical ailment, at the physical level. Okay. That is the field of doctors. And how do we fix that? Through chemistry or surgery, right? Of the physical intervention, right? But then there is the psychological, the mind level. How do you fix that? Through communication, thinking or changing your way of thinking, right? Reshaping the way you're looking at situations, right? Then we go to the level of the soul. When traumas happen, sometimes we get an image stuck in our minds. So we need to work on releasing that image. I remember I had this client whose husband died, and she came to me and she says, I just need you to get that picture out of my head when she saw him dying. And I worked on that. So that is the level of the soul, the mental image pictures. Okay. And then there's a higher level too, which is the energetic level. And that is the language of spirit. And that is energy. So when you talk about psychotherapy and you talk about psychiatry and you talk about medicine in general, you're working at the physical level and the mind level, but you're not working at the soul level and the energy level. So the shaman works at that level, the energy level. Imagine the equation of relativity. Energy equals mass times the speed of light to the square power, right? The shaman sits in the middle of that equation, transforming energy into matter and matter into energy. While we fix at the energetic level, they have tremendous, incredible repercussions at the physical level. So it comes down. And sometimes you can only fix a problem from a higher level in which it was created. So the energetic level, it's probably one of the levels that needs to be addressed in every circumstance in order to move forward. A lot of genetic issues, a lot of things that are basically engraved in our DNA can only be changed if we go through through the energetic level, and we address it through the energetic level. There are many cases, for instance, in which I see, I had clients in which there was this belief that the men in the family were cursed. There was a curse in the men of the family. So energetically, that great grandmother said that because they were naughty or whatever, like boys will be boys, right? And said that, passed on that curse down to the family. So all the men will get in car accidents, or we get major accidents, and just be very difficult people that could not relate emotionally to other people. So that's basically an energetic imprint. And we work on that by removing that energetic imprint. So when the client comes here and tells me, I think I was cursed. Okay, tell me about that curse. And we talk about it. And we start finding how we can address that curse or that belief. Where in the luminous field is that curse that he thinks comes from his ancestors? And we work on that. Other people say, the women in my family die at this age. That's another curse, right? We believe that that is a reality, and it's a very much real for that family. Like my job as a shaman is to remove that curse, to remove that belief and change it. So the person can create a new life for herself, not only for herself, but also for her children, because the children will not inherit that curse anymore.
Right. Um, Another practice that I am personally also very passionate about is meditation. So I used to do meditation way more regularly when I was like in my 20s, like beginning of my 20s. Now I'm almost 30 and I don't do it as regular as I would wish to do it. But um, how do you, in your opinion, does meditation contribute to that as well? How can meditation help with all the things that we discussed up so far? You think it's a helpful tool in this regard as well?
Absolutely. I think meditation is step number one. And what do you do when you go into nature? You kind of meditate, right? As you're walking,
Yeah.
you're starting releasing all that energetic overload. I love meditation because um, this is what I tell my clients. You cleanse your body, you take a shower every day, right? So you clean your body. What about your mind? Meditation is that for your mind and your soul. Is releasing all that overthinking, of those heavy emotions, letting them go, and then releasing the energy that you might have picked up from other people as well. Because when we go out in the world, we're like magnets. And if we don't know how to protect our space, we pick up from people's emotions that are in the form of energy. And then pretty soon we feel off because we're carrying the emotions of other people in our luminous field. So meditation is a wonderful tool that allows us to release that energetic overload, that overthinking, that overload of emotions. And there are many styles of meditations. There are meditations that only focus on the releasing the overthinking, right? There are meditations that focus on the releasing the energy, meditations that allow you to release mental image pictures, traumas. There are different styles. So I am big as a supporter of meditative practice. In fact, I tell my clients on the first session, okay, what is going to be your spiritual practice? Start
Yeah.
meditating. And they look at me like, do I have homework? Yes, you do. Because I can only heal you so much. But how long did it take you to get as bad as you were when you came in here? How long? Years, right? Okay, well, I need you to
Right.
keep, sweeping and cleaning your luminous field so it doesn't get so overwhelming, right? So it's maintenance.
So obviously, it's always very specific to the person, but just as I'm very curious about it, is there maybe if there is such a thing, like your favorite meditation practice that you could share? Because for me, basically when I meditated, it was a lot of mindfulness meditation, is what I was doing. And so, yeah, I'm just a little bit curious about the different styles and what other practices one could do.
Right. One of the meditation that I learned at the beginning of my practice was the running energy meditation or running or grounding meditation, where you ground yourself to the earth and you're basically your spine becomes connected to the earth through a beam of light. And this beam of light allows you to release anything that doesn't belong to you. And you add to that an active practice of bringing the earth energy through your legs and the cosmic energy through your crown, and you establish a flow of energy. So pretty soon, this flow starts releasing anybody else's energy. That is one of the practices that I have, and I share some meditations in my website as well. So that's one of them. Other meditations that I do because I am a shaman and I love going into the mountains. I take people through guided meditations in which I take them into the mountains. There's one in which I take him into Rainbow Mountain in my website, and as they walking on the path, they learn to clean their chakras with the different colors that come from that rainbow mountain. That's one of them. So visualization, the practice of visualizing your body being cleansed, because for healing, the most important thing is intention. If you tell yourself, "I am going to heal," you're gonna heal, and you're gonna make it happen. So just seeing that you're being healed, that you're being cleansed, that you're releasing all these energetic blockages is gonna help a ton. Of course, you always need, I think that we all need some energetic work from whatever modality. It could be Reiki, could be um, an energy healer, could be a shaman. There are many modalities, could be sound healing. I also work with sound healing, which is another form of releasing energy out of your body. It's very important. It's just part of your regular maintenance. And I think it needs to become more mainstream for just general health.
Yes. Um, I definitely agree. Well, I mean, that's a difficult question, but um, how do you see that happening? Because I personally always love to talk to people, and love to talk about these topics in specific. So I'm kind of looking for people, but and again, not trying to be too negative, but I don't really see these messages a lot in, like you said, in the mainstream. So how do you see that switch happening?
I think it's changing more and more, and it happens too also with what kind of people you hang around with too. So I for the
Right.
longest time there were times in which I felt very frustrated because my friends would look at me like, "What are you doing?" But there was a little bit of judgment, and then I realized, you know what, um, that's okay. I just need to find the right crowd. I just need to find the right person that will understand my craziness, let's call it. But it's not craziness, my way of being.
Right.
We all go by the rhythm of our own or the beating of our own drum. So
Mm.
you need to find your tribe. And we're not going to change the whole world. The way I see it, see, when we come into this world, imagine oneness, okay? All of us, all these spirits that come from oneness, coming into planet Earth. And as we hit the atmosphere, it's like we're hitting this prism that splits this white light into all these different colors: green, red, yellow, whatever, all the colors of the rainbow, right? And every light, it's an individual personality, is an individual person. Red is not better than green, green is not better than yellow. Okay. We
Yeah.
are all at different frequencies, right? At different wavelengths. So you need to find your crowd. And some of them are higher frequencies or are vibrating at a different frequency. So if you want to make a choice in which you feel much happier, then you need to go into that frequency and just put the intention out there to your angels, to your spirit guides, because we all have angels and spirit guides that you can find, put you in the right group with the right people that would inspire you and help you grow. And at the same time, become the person that you want to become.
Yes. Um, I'm also always very curious, um, just to share resources as well. So I don't know if you have anything on the top of your head, but um, if someone wants to educate themselves more or just find out more about and obviously it's a broad field, spirituality, shamanic practices, just energies in general, healing, being more in tune with yourself, all these sorts of things. Do you personally have resources that you can recommend for people to get into these topics?
Yes. One of the things that I'm doing right now is I'm organizing trips to the mountains. I'm taking people into the mountains. The
Mm,
documentary is a great resource to learn about spirituality. In general, like I said, I do have a book that was published. It's called Sam and the Giant Tree. It was actually published with a under an pen name, which was Samantha Freeman. You can find it on
mm,
Amazon. I rewrote it, but I haven't republished it yet because I don't feel it's the right time yet. Um,
all right.
but I do, when people start uh, having sessions with me, and I see that they need that practice, I give them that, the book that I haven't published. I just give them to them for free through
Yeah.
Google Download or something, and then they can read it and start practicing this particular type of meditation that I share with you. Um, and also, as I when I work with my clients, I can see what they need. Like some of them, for instance, because the topic of spirituality is very broad, right?
Yeah.
So for you to go into what is the purpose of spirituality? First of all, let's compare it to religion, right? Religion is more dogmatic, follows a dogma, it has structure. Spirituality is a free for all. There's all kinds of things that you can explore, right? So I would say the first thing is define what you're attracted to. Also focus on your ancestry. What because you were born into this world into certain ancestry and with certain interests and with certain environment, parents, whatever. So look at that, where you were positioned, where you were born, or where you happen to emigrate. Like in my case, I immigrated to the United States, and I have this dual um, culture, right? So see what your position is, and perhaps by looking at that, you realize, oh, I'm in a very unique position. Like for instance, I'm Jewish slash African American, and I happen to live in Iowa or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like your environment, what position you're in, what is important for you in your life at that very moment. So just to answer your question again, is like when I work with my clients, I see what they need. I help them figure out what their path is, and we'll go, okay, this is what we need to do for you. I would recommend this and that because everybody's different. Everybody's different.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so finally, if we just want to look into the future a little bit as well, I um, read somewhere that you are planning to go back to Peru next year. That there's going to be a journey that you're planning. So maybe, yeah, if you can also take us into that a little bit and let us know again what inspired that. What is it exactly you're doing there? What's the plan for that journey?
My purpose as a shaman is to take people back to the frequency of love that is found in the mountains, either through my practice, by helping them cleanse their energetic field or physically taking them there. So, this journey that I'm setting up for the end of August of 2025 is basically that taking them to the mountains. But before the trip, I will prepare people 6 months in advance, initiating them into the shamanic rites.
Mhm.
Basically, this trip is for earth keepers, people that want to really have this spiritual initiation, of, yeah, I want to be connected to the mountains. I want to become part of this whole lineage of earth keepers, star keepers, really. If you feel that this touches your heart, then this might be for you. And this is not going to be the only trip because we're trying to keep the group to a manageable size, right? Because this is a very
Right.
deep spiritual experience. And I would initiate them the shamanic rites. for 6 months. So we get to meet, talk about what we're going to see, and also to explain. I will explain to you what it means to be, for instance, an altomisayok, or basically communicate, the person that communicates with the mountains. So there are specific people that can speak with the mountains, right? Or a pampamisayok, which is basically a person that serves the community, that takes care of the community. Or the star keeper, a person that has a strong connection with the stars and receive messages from the stars. Um, so all of these rights can be part of your growth in spirituality, of your becoming the person that you want to become. But if it's the cold and you feel that you want to understand and learn about this, it's a very unique path. But I think it's a way of me sharing my own experience, what I've lived through. That was my journey. I was called to be this bridge between the mountains and the Western wall, and I take people there because I'm happiest when I'm there. It's just so unbelievable. But at the same time, I get to talk to them every day because in my meditation, guess where I go? To the mountains.
Right.
So and I talk to them and I channel their messages. So yeah, that's what the trip is about. And you can find more information on my website. And like I say, I will continue to do those trips. So I love doing that. I will use any excuse to go to Peru for several reasons, not only
Right.
because I was born there, but the food is amazing. The people are wonderful. And the mountains and the vibration. The people that have experienced the vibration of the Sacred Valley and the mountains can attest that this is a very special place. It's a very unique place. Very rustic for sure. It's not, it's not 5 stars, but it's definitely how you can reconnect with nature and with the spirits of the mountains. Yeah.
Think that's a super cool thing. I feel like that's so great. Because like you said, everyone could probably book a flight to Peru and just go there, but actually like showing the people, okay, this is what to expect, and guiding them through the whole experience with the knowledge that you already have. Yeah, I just think that that's actually such a cool thing.
Oh
Um,
yeah, it's very different for sure. Because I've traveled to the Sacred Valley and the mountains many times before I received the initiations, and wow, what a difference! Another world.
right. Um, I just want to ask a completely off-topic question, but since you just kind of mentioned it, it was a thing, and especially the early episodes, we talked about food quite a lot. So, since you just brought up the great food that Peru has, maybe I'm always looking for recommendations, culinary recommendations as well. What would you tell people would be things they should try from Peru or in when they're in Peru?
Ooh, okay. Well, based on what you like. Okay, do you
Mm,
like let me explain a little bit about Peru. Okay. So Peru
yeah.
is very similar to the United States, in which we have a lot of the cultures are blended, but in a very small area, kind of like the size of Nevada, right? So it's a
Mm,
small country with influx of Chinese culture, Japanese culture, African
mm,
culture, um, and indigenous culture. Plus, you have the regions, the different regions. You have the coast, so we have amazing fish, and in the coast of Peru is very unique because we have the process of afloramiento, which is basically the 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 currents, the ocean currents make the plankton, kind of stir the plankton up and eats the fauna and also the algae, of course. So it creates incredible variety of fish that you're not going to find in other places. So we have amazing varieties of fish, incredible tasty fish. And so that's one, that's the coast. And then we have the jungle, the Amazon
mm,
jungle. And we have, imagine everything grows in the jungle. I mean, the jungle is very abundant, produces a lot of fruits and animals and all kinds of stuff, right? So that's another thing that you add into that combination. And then you have the Andes. In the Andes, the mountains and the different altitudes create a lot of microclimates. So you not only have a variety of cultures, you have a variety of ecosystems the ocean, the mountains, the jungle, all of that combined creates an amazing fusion cuisine. On top of that, Peruvians love to eat and they love to eat tasty food. So, so they are always experimenting and creating amazing things. So, our cooks are probably the most renowned cooks in the world, among the most renowned cooks in the world. I shouldn't say they're all the most renowned, but the food is amazing. So, if you want to try seafood, Peru has amazing seafood. If you want to try Chinese food, I joke around because I've been to China and said the best Chinese food is in Lima, Peru. So, so it's amazing. It's amazing. Hands down, the best Chinese food is in Lima, Peru. Um, and then when you go into the Andes, you have all these varieties of potatoes that just melt in your mouth. It's just incredible. And thousands of varieties. Yeah, thousands of varieties. Can you imagine going to the market and what potato am I going to buy? Of course, you will gravitate towards the yellow potato, which we don't have here in the United States. It's a yellow potato different than the yellow potatoes we have here, which are just incredible. And we have so many varieties of that. So if you like potatoes, oof, there are so many varieties. And then we have these dishes that are called will be like an appetizer, really, like hors d'oeuvre or something like potatoes with different sauces. And then we have varieties of chilies that are only found in Peru. So, and the corn, like for instance, we make chicha, which is made of the purple corn. We make it at home all the time. So you can try different things. We have amazing cocktails. We have pisco, which is made from grapes, but it's aguardiente. And we make cocktails that are super delicious, which is kind of like an imitation of the whiskey sour, but it's called pisco sour because it's made with pisco. And then we have so many amazing cocktails and drinks. It's just the food in Peru is just amazing. It just blows your mind when you go there because you have. I mean, walking through the market in Peru, it's just an olfactory experience because you're smelling the papayas and mangoes and this and that. And it's like, wow, you can really feel it. It's incredible because I don't know, the food is very fresh over there. So yeah, so cuisine is definitely an experience in Peru. You could spend your whole vacation just trying different restaurants because there are a lot of restaurants. And my sister says the restaurants have to be very good here because they will not be successful because they have a lot of competition.
Right.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you so much for that detailed journey through the culinary Peruvian dishes and variety. That was, yeah, that was really cool. And well, people that listen to a podcast know already. I'm actually planning on going to South America, so that plan is already there for a couple of years, and I'm definitely going to do it in 1 or 2 years. And you just again confirmed that Peru definitely needs to be on the countries I'm going to visit there as well. Yeah,
absolutely. It's amazing food. Amazing food. And you haven't it's I have to say the Peruvian cuisine is well known in South America. Everybody knows hands down it's the best cuisine. So it's not
nice.
because I'm Peruvian. It's just I'm telling the truth.
No, I definitely believe you. Um,
Okay.
Yeah, well, Fabiola, thank you so much for the conversation. I really took a lot of valuable things from it. Well, the last part was very, very cool for me personally too, but all the other things were so interesting and so inspirational. Um, so we touched on some things during our conversation as well, but if you just want to again tell the people what are the resources, where can we find your stuff, where can we get in touch with you, and obviously everything we covered, I will put some links in the description as well so that people can find it easier. But yeah, if you just want to tell us where we can find.
Well, you can find more about me on my website, fabiolabaughman.com. It's spelled F as in Frank, A, B as in boy, IOLA, B as in boy, AUGHMAN.com.
All right, easy enough. Um, So yeah, appreciate your time. Appreciate sharing your journey and your insights with us. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed the interview. Take care.
Of course. All right. Goodbye, everyone.